Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive here.
Mhm.
Today, we're embarking on a pretty fascinating journey, actually. We're going through a truly rich and, well, diverse collection of sources.
Yeah, it's quite a mix you've brought together.
It is. You've given us this real mosaic of insights, stuff spanning everything from, foundational business strategy and human psychology, right through to the intricate dance of organizational dynamics.
hmm
Instead of just one central text, we've got this incredible stack of material, fields as varied as, well, ancient philosophy, cutting-edge modern tech, and the complex world of financial markets.
Right.
So our mission today, it's pretty clear. We want to meticulously extract those vital nuggets of knowledge from this really wide array of perspectives.
And help connect the dots.
Exactly, helping you connect the dots on what truly drives success and, well, failure in these complex environments, and ultimately how we can all make more informed, just better decisions
Right.
in our own lives, our work.
Whether you're leading a team or...
Yeah, leading a team, building a startup, or maybe just navigating your career path.
And what's particularly captivating about this collection, I think, as we delve into it, is seeing how these seemingly disparate ideas, a concept from a finance book here, a psychological insight there, they start to converge.
Right.
They illuminate each other when we focus on those core challenges: leadership, innovation, navigating relentless change.
So we're not just like reacting to the info.
No, exactly. We
Well-
won't just react to the information presented in these sources. Instead, we'll actively, synthesize it, aim for a deeper, more profound understanding, turn that raw data and individual theories into, well, truly actionable wisdom.
Okay.
So for those of you constantly seeking those aha moments, maybe looking for a thorough yet highly efficient way to get truly well informed, this deep dive offers a pretty unique lens, a lens on the enduring principles that shape our world, guiding us through, ambiguity and opportunity alike. From those grand strategic moves in the boardroom, right down to our most personal growth challenges.
Okay, let's unpack this then. And maybe begin at the fundamental level of strategic success. Our sources, they really suggest that strategy isn't merely about, say, operational efficiency or chasing immediate profits.
No, it's deeper than that.
It feels like something much more foundational, a bedrock concept that truly defines enduring value. So, what exactly is that core idea? How do we even begin to grasp its importance?
Well, the foundational assumption, as Hamilton Helmer outlines with really elegant precision in his book, Seven Powers, is what he calls the value axiom.
The value axiom.
Yeah, and this isn't just some fancy term. It asserts that strategy is fundamentally about potential fundamental business value.
Potential value, got it.
Right. So think of it less like a, tactical battle plan and more like an architect's blueprint. You're creating something so intrinsically valuable, so defensible in the market, that its ability to generate significant cash flow far into the future becomes incredibly clear. And that radically reduces market uncertainty.
Okay, so it clarifies the future.
Exactly. Helmer highlights that the most important value moment for a business, a truly pivotal point, occurs precisely when uncertainty about, 1, market size, and 2, power, which he defines as sustainable competitive advantage, radically diminishes.
When that uncertainty drops.
Right. At that critical juncture, the future cash flow of the business becomes much clearer, and its true strategic worth, well, it becomes evident to everyone. It's about building an engine, really, that reliably produces value, not just making a quick sale.
That power concept is really intriguing. It sounds like operational excellence alone isn't enough, then, to guarantee success, no matter how skilled a company is at execution.
No, not at all.
It's almost like you can run the fastest race, but, if you're on the wrong track, it just won't matter.
Exactly. You've hit on a crucial distinction there. The Intel case study from Helmer's Seven Powers illustrates this so vividly.
Oh, yeah, the Intel story.
Right. Intel, a company renowned globally, right? Unexcelled leadership, incredible technical depth, manufacturing prowess that was truly second to none. They faced an exploding market for both memory chips and microprocessors.
Okay, both huge markets.
Huge. Yet despite all these considerable advantages, the same brilliant engineers, the same advanced fabs, the same astute leadership applying equally to both businesses, the outcomes were utterly disparate.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Right.
Their memory business, despite immense effort and top talent, led to a painful, costly exit.
Yeah, they got out of memories.
They did. Conversely, their microprocessor business became this multi-decade, lucrative, high-margin, enduring success story that basically reshaped the tech world.
By 86, yeah.
Exactly. The critical difference wasn't the quality of their people or their operational efficiency or their ability to execute.
Mm.
It was simply that one business had power, that sustainable competitive advantage, and the other did not.
Wow.
And this underscores a powerful, maybe even uncomfortable truth. Operational excellence, while always important, only truly helps if you've already attained that strategic power.
Only if you have the power first.
Right. Without it, even the most brilliant execution can, unfortunately, lead to spectacular failure.
So for you, our listener, whether you're building a company or spearheading a major project, maybe even thinking about how to advance your own career, it's not enough to just be exceptionally good at what you do.
No, that's the key takeaway.
You also need to ensure that what you're doing, the core of your effort, possesses inherent strategic leverage or power in the market. It's about finding that unique, defensible advantage that allows you to thrive consistently, not just, survive fleetingly.
Finding that leverage.
That Intel example really solidifies it. Operational excellence alone isn't enough. True power is fundamental. But then the logical next step is, okay, how do companies actually discover that or build that kind of enduring power?
Right. Where does it come from?
Our sources suggest it often starts not with cold market analysis, but with something far more intrinsic. Guy Kawasaki, for instance, in Art of the Start 2.0, argues that great companies don't begin by asking, how can we make a boatload of money?
No. That's usually not the starting point.
There's a much deeper driver at play.
And what's truly fascinating here is the profound emphasis on purpose. Kawasaki suggests that the genesis of truly great, game-changing companies lies in answering simple yet powerful questions. Questions that can fundamentally improve or change the world, rather than being solely driven by the desire for immense wealth. He even offers this thought-provoking exercise for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah.
Complete this sentence. If your startup never existed, the world would be worse off because...
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It pushes you, right? Far beyond superficial market opportunities. It forces a deeper, more mission-driven starting point. One that aligns with a genuine, often unmet need or significant problem that urgently requires solving.
Find that compelling why.
Exactly. Before you even consider the what or the how, find the why.
Okay, so you have that clear, compelling purpose, that powerful why. How do you then navigate the market? Find the right sweet spot to actually bring that purpose to life and make it, commercially viable. Because a great idea without a market, well, it isn't a business.
It's just an idea, indeed. Kawasaki's approach for finding this sweet spot involves a pretty pragmatic Venn diagram. It highlights three intersecting factors: your unique capabilities, the needs of the market, and the desire to make an impact.
Capabilities, market needs, impact. Okay.
Right. It's about identifying a viable market position where your purpose can not only flourish, but also meet a genuine, articulated demand in a way that truly differentiates you. And this concept, understanding market readiness and fit, it's also deeply echoed in Crossing the Chasm.
Oh, Jeffrey Moore.
Exactly. Which discusses how disruptive products get introduced into the mainstream. Moore explains that the early majority of customers, for example, they're not looking for revolution. They crave evolution.
We want enhancement, not disruption.
Precisely. They want technology to enhance, not overthrow, their established ways of doing business. And critically, they absolutely do not want to debug someone else's product.
No kidding.
They expect it to work properly, integrate seamlessly with their existing tech base, and deliver reliable value. So finding that sweet spot means not only having a powerful purpose, but also understanding the customer's appetite for change.
Right.
And delivering on their expectations for reliability, integration, ease of use.
Yeah.
It's about translating that purpose into practical, valuable solutions.
That makes perfect sense. But let's say you have that purpose. You've identified a potential sweet spot. How does a startup or even an established company know if their new idea, their product, is genuinely profitable or viable before sinking immense resources and precious time into it?
Yeah, the big risk.
Our sources clearly champion the lean startup methodology for tackling this exact challenge.
And Eric Ries, in his seminal work, The Lean Startup, provides a crucial, almost counterintuitive answer.
Yeah.
The minimum viable product, or MVP.
The MVP.
Right. The powerful lesson from cautionary tales like Webvan. Remember Webvan?
Oh, yeah. Spectacular flame out.
Over $375 million poured into it before its bankruptcy. Or even the clever anecdote involving Sherwood in Timothy Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek.
The T-shirt guy.
The sailor shirt guy, yeah. The lesson is that neither extensive experience nor profound business savvy alone guarantees success. The fundamental truth is, you simply have to ask people to buy it.
You have to test the demand.
Exactly. Sherwood's eBay backorder lie is brilliant, if maybe ethically questionable.
A little bit.
A little bit. He listed custom sailor shirts online, and when customers clicked purchase, he told them it was a backorder, implying a short delay.
Okay.
This wasn't just a lie. It was a brilliant way to test actual market demand for a very specific product before he even purchased his first shirt.
Wow. So he faked it till he made it, basically.
Pretty much. After selling 12 shirts in 5 days this way, confirming demand, then he confidently ordered 24, sold those, and systematically scaled his business from a validated concept. Similarly, Groupon, now a giant, right? They began incredibly modestly. Just 20 2-for-1 pizza vouchers sold in their own office restaurant.
That's small.
That small.
Yeah.
This iterative, experimental approach, build, measure, learn is absolutely key. It helps you systematically figure out the right things to build. It pushes you beyond theoretical analysis to actual real-world validation, proving out your concept with minimal risk before you go all in.
So for you listening, whether you're nurturing a burgeoning business idea or maybe tackling a significant project within an existing organization, the fundamental takeaway is start by asking why.
Always start with why.
Why does it matter? What core problem does it genuinely solve? What purpose does it serve? Then, crucially, rigorously test your assumptions about its viability in the real world.
Even in small ways.
Yeah, even in small, maybe fake doorways.
Yeah.
This approach can save you immense time, effort, financial resources, proving out your idea's true potential before you're fully committed, ensuring you build something people genuinely want and need.
Right. Validate before you scale.
That discussion on lean startups and testing assumptions really highlights the dynamic nature of building something new. But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting.
Yeah.
Once a company achieves that initial strategic power or purpose and starts to scale rapidly, what some call blitzscaling, the internal world, the inside of the organization, has to transform completely.
It's a massive shift.
And from the sources, it sounds like this can be a profoundly disorienting experience, especially for those early employees, the ones who built the company from the ground up.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of the most significant shifts they face as a company moves from that intimate family stage to a much larger village stage?
That's a critical point, and blitzscaling really brings it to life. At the family stage, when a company is small, everyone often feels like they're in the know, involved in nearly every major decision.
Yeah, high transparency.
High transparency, direct communication, almost a tribal connection. But as a company blitzscales and its employee count explodes, dozens to hundreds, maybe thousands, it becomes nearly impossible for any single employee, especially those early ones, to keep up with what other departments are doing.
Right, silos start forming.
Exactly. The operations of entire divisions become largely a mystery. Now, for new hires, this larger, more compartmentalized state might just seem normal.
That's just how it is.
Right. But for those early employees, this shift could be deeply disconcerting. They could feel like they used to be trusted insiders, privy to everything, but now they feel like outsiders.
Losing that connection.
Losing that intimate connection to the whole.
Yeah.
Feeling increasingly disconnected from the mission they helped forge. And the solution isn't to try and involve them in every decision that's just logistically impossible.
Yeah.
It would grind growth to a halt.
Can't do that.
No. But you have to proactively create other systems. For instance, tours of duty, as outlined in the Alliance.
Reid Hoffman's concept.
Exactly. Where employees get specific, time-bound, high-impact projects. This can help them feel continuously connected to the company's broader mission and purpose, maintaining that vital sense of belonging, ownership, contribution, despite the scale.
So it's not just about managing growth externally, but fundamentally redesigning the internal human experience. That sounds like a monumental leadership challenge.
Oh, it is.
Maintaining connection, morale, sense of purpose amidst such rapid, sometimes disorienting change. It needs a completely different kind of management philosophy, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The sheer speed and scale of blitzscaling make the old, informal ways of operating obsolete almost overnight.
Yeah, they just break down.
They do. Effective leadership in that environment requires immense foresight, a willingness to completely adapt the organizational structure, communication methods, even the company culture itself. It's about understanding the deep psychological impact of rapid growth on individuals and proactively building new bridges, new systems to maintain a cohesive, motivated, engaged workforce.
Lots of communication, I imagine.
Tons. It often means leaders must become master communicators, constantly reinforcing the vision, the evolving purpose, even as the day-to-day operations become more distant for many.
Okay, moving beyond individual growth, let's talk teams. The discipline of teams and the 5 dysfunctions of a team both highlight the foundational importance of truly effective teamwork.
Critical stuff.
How do teams really achieve collective goals? Ensure they don't just become, a collection of talented individuals working in parallel, but never quite coalescing into a unified force.
Right, how do you get that synergy? To truly achieve collective goals, teams need a very specific set of conditions, a deliberate approach. Our sources emphasize that effective teams require a profound shared commitment
Shared commitment.
to a common purpose
Oh.
and a clear, mutually agreed-upon working approach. This isn't something dictated from the top. Ideally, the pace and method of work should be set collaboratively by the group.
Fosters ownership.
Exactly, fosters ownership. Allows roles to shift flexibly to fit evolving performance needs rather than staying rigidly defined. And crucially, in a true team, collective goals must invariably outweigh individual ones.
The team goal comes first.
Always. The team's overall success, shared outcomes, prioritized above any single member's individual achievement, recognition, or ego.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, emphasizing outcome-based goals, focused on tangible, measurable results like increase customer retention by X%, facilitates a much better dialogue, aligns efforts more effectively, provides clearer accountability.
It does tracking activity.
Rather than activity-based goals, which can often obscure how individual contributions actually lead to collective results. Did we achieve the outcome? Is a much better question than were we all busy?
That's a great point about collective goals needing to take precedence. But, even with the best intentions, internal disagreements, conflicts, they inevitably arise within any group.
Oh, for sure. It's human nature.
Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia in Let My People Go Surfing, touches on the specific difficulty of getting independent, strong-willed employees, the kind of people he deliberately cultivated on board with an idea if they aren't truly convinced.
Yeah, Chouinard's insights are deeply pragmatic. He observes that if employees aren't genuinely convinced by an idea, or if they don't truly get its importance or validity, they might not just outright refuse to do a job, which is clear feedback at least.
Right, you know where you stand.
Exactly.
Mm.
Worse, they might give a passive-aggressive response,
Mm.
going through the motions without true conviction.
Malicious compliance, almost.
Kind of. And this can lead to a situation where you think the job will be done, but in the end, it either isn't or it's done poorly, undermining the whole effort.
Mm-hmm.
Chouinard argues that the best democracy within an organization exists when decisions are made through genuine consensus.
Not just voting.
Not just voting. It means everyone comes to an agreement that the decision is the correct one, that it makes sense, leaving all sides feeling heard, understood, and the underlying problem fully solved.
Unlike compromise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a stark contrast to compromises, which, as he vividly illustrates with that biblical example of Solomon cutting the baby in half,
Right.
often leave both parties feeling cheated or partially dissatisfied. Building this kind of deep-seated consensus requires exceptional communication skills,
It needs real skill.
like an American Indian tribe chief's oratorical abilities, he says, focused on persuasion, deep listening, fostering genuine understanding, not just top-down directives.
And sometimes, despite all those best efforts, trying for consensus, a team member might just not be the right fit for the evolving needs of the group.
Yeah, that happens.
Our sources also talk about confronting these difficult team issues directly, how essential, albeit painful, that can be. Catherine, the CEO in Patrick Lencioni's The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, faces just such a challenging situation with an employee named Mikey. He's clearly not fitting in.
And this scenario raises an incredibly important and often really emotionally charged question for any leader. When is removing someone from a team not just a difficult necessity, but ultimately beneficial for the entire collective?
The tough call.
The tough call. Catherine, in a moment of clarity and resolve, explicitly states her job is to build an executive team that works, that delivers results. And sometimes that means acknowledging a poor fit, even with a talented individual.
Right.
She articulates with striking honesty that keeping someone who simply can't or won't do the job is far worse for morale. Yours, the person who's doing a crummy job, and everyone else who's doing a great job.
That resonates. It drags everyone down.
It does. And the crucial insight here is that such tough decisions, when they must be made, need to be built on a foundation of trust.
Trust is key.
It comes down to having cultivated good relationship, demonstrated genuine care personally for the individual, even when making these difficult professional choices.
So it's not personal.
Exactly. This way, the individual, and crucially the rest of the team, understand that the decision is for the greater good of the organization and its mission, not born of personal animosity or capriciousness. It's about respecting the team's needs while treating individuals with dignity.
So for you listening, think about your own team or group projects. Are your goals truly collective, or are individual efforts pulling in different directions, maybe even undermining each other?
Are you aligned?
Are decisions genuinely consensus-driven, built on deep understanding? Or do they often feel like compromises that leave lingering resentment, unresolved issues? Reflecting on these dynamics, from fostering shared purpose to making those tough personnel decisions, can be absolutely key to unlocking your group's full potential and ensuring its long-term health.
Really examining those team dynamics.
That focus on collective goals and clear purpose leads us really nicely into thinking about how organizations position themselves in the broader market. Many companies, still benchmark their competition relentlessly,
The traditional approach.
trying to do things better, faster, cheaper than rivals. But Blue Ocean's strategy argues for a radical shift in this traditional competitive mindset. What does that radical, game-changing shift actually look like?
Yeah, Blue Ocean strategy isn't about competing in those existing crowded red oceans.
Red oceans,
Yeah.
bloody waters.
Exactly. Those are the familiar battlegrounds where companies fight fiercely over diminishing returns, often with cutthroat competition. Instead, Blue Ocean is about courageously creating entirely new market spaces. Blue Ocean,
Uncontested space.
where competition is, at least initially, irrelevant. It uses a powerful and actionable framework, the 4 key actions: eliminate, reduce, raise, and create.
Eliminate, reduce, raise, create. Okay.
By systematically eliminating and reducing investments in factors an industry traditionally competes on things customers might take for granted or no longer value highly, or that add unnecessary cost, and simultaneously raising buyer value on new dimensions and creating new, uncontested demand through novel offerings. Companies can fundamentally reconstruct value elements.
Rebuild the value proposition.
Exactly. This strategy allows them to offer an entirely new experience, often at a lower cost, making the existing rules of competition utterly irrelevant. It's not about being slightly better. It's about playing an entirely different game.
Got an example.
Yeah, the classic one is Cirque du Soleil. They eliminated costly animal acts and star performers, things traditional circuses competed on.
Right. Reduced costs.
Reduced costs.
Yeah.
But they raised the artistic quality, introduced music and themes, created a narrative,
Created new value.
created new value,
Yeah.
thereby attracting a whole new audience of adults and corporate clients who wouldn't normally go to a traditional circus. They created a blue ocean.
So it's about not just optimizing what's there, but fundamentally changing the game entirely. This feels deeply connected to the innovator's dilemma,
Oh, absolutely.
where established players often struggle, sometimes fatally, to make these kinds of shifts, even when they see the future coming.
Absolutely. The connection is profound and, frankly, often tragic for incumbent firms. Clayton Christensen, in The Innovator's Dilemma, provides a sobering explanation for why firms leading in sustaining innovations.
Making existing stuff better.
Right, making existing products better for existing, often high-margin customers. Why they so often fail to adopt disruptive technologies that initially seem inferior.
Why does that happen?
Well, the core problem is that incumbent leaders are, in a sense, held captive by their customers.
Captive by customers. How so?
Their most profitable and demanding customers naturally demand incremental improvements. Faster, cheaper, better versions of what already exists.
Right. Makes sense.
This makes it incredibly hard for incumbents to invest in nascent, often less profitable, disruptive technologies that their current customers don't yet want, or that might even cannibalize their core business.
Ah, the cannibalization fear.
Exactly. This creates a crucial opening for new entrants to succeed. These new markets often require very different capabilities, processes, even organizational cultures than the incumbents possess.
Different DNA needed.
Totally different DNA. Furthermore, the information needed for large, decisive investments in disruptive tech often does not exist at the outset. You can't build a perfect business plan for something that doesn't fully exist yet.
So you can't just analyze your way there.
No. Failure and iterative learning are therefore intrinsic to finding success with disruption. And that's something that large, successful organizations, which are meticulously built to avoid failure in their core profitable business, find very difficult to tolerate.
That resistance to failure.
Right. A brilliant example of managing this, though, is Netflix. When they started exploring streaming,
Yeah.
they initially invested a modest, like 1–2% of their revenue, not a bet the company amount, but significant enough to test the waters.
A small bit.
A small bet.
Yeah.
They launched with a small library, maybe 1,000 titles compared to their huge DVD collection. As customers responded positively, they gradually increased content commitments, refined the tech.
Learned as they went.
Learned as they went. It wasn't a reckless gamble. It was a careful, calibrated series of experiments. Small bets, allowing them to learn and adapt without jeopardizing the whole company. It perfectly illustrates that power of discovery-driven experimentation in a turbulent environment. Not just reacting, but proactively building a new future step by step.
That's a crucial insight. Embracing early failure as an integral part of discovery for new innovations, rather than seeing it as a sign of impending doom. It demands a different kind of organizational patience and flexibility.
It really does.
But it's also profoundly counterintuitive for many, I think.
It truly is a paradigm shift. Traditional management often rewards avoiding failure at all costs, right? Optimizing for predictable outcomes. But with disruptive innovation, blue ocean thinking, iterative failure, learning from what doesn't work, is often the only way to truly learn what will work in genuinely new, unexplored territory. It's about embracing uncertainty as a source of information.
So, what happens when companies ignore these critical insights? When they get stuck in that doom loop you mentioned, chasing fads, refusing to adapt, clinging to past successes?
Well, Good to Great provides a stark, almost cautionary tale with the example of A&P. Remember A&P? Once a retail giant?
Vaguely, yeah.
For years, the company vacillated, shifted from one ill-conceived strategy to another, always looking for a single stroke, a quick fix to solve its deep-seated problems.
Searching for a silver bullet.
Exactly. They launched trendy programs, grabbed fleeting fads, fired CEOs, hired new ones, fired them again. This desperate cycle, this doom loop behavior, constantly chasing superficial solutions, never committing to a sustained fundamental strategy, prevented any real cumulative progress.
No momentum.
No momentum. Instead of building it, they just thrashed. Similarly, the eventual downfall of the Ford Model T.
The Model T.
After serving its historic purpose of democratizing the automobile, it highlighted how even a revolutionary product can lose its way, become obsolete, if adaptation is ignored.
Ford got stuck.
Ford's brilliance early on was undeniable, right? Over 2 million Model Ts in 1 year at its peak. But the company's later struggles to adapt to changing consumer preferences, the rise of competitors like GM offering variety and credit, that became a pivotal part of its history, almost trapped itself in its own success.
And competitive strategy offers specific examples of how deeply entrenched incumbents struggle to react effectively to new entrants, even when the writing is clearly on the wall. It feels like a recurring pattern.
It is. Michael Porter vividly describes how entrenched companies face significant, often agonizing dilemmas when confronted by new, disruptive competitors.
Like the Swiss watches.
Exactly. The Swiss watch industry, with its deep stake in high-end jewelry stores as its main distribution channel, its carefully cultivated image of watches as fine precision jewelry. They were incredibly reluctant to aggressively retaliate against Timex's low-cost, mass-market concept.
Why not fight back hard?
Such a strong move, they feared, would have legitimized Timex as a serious competitor. It would have directly threatened their crucial, long-standing relationships with jewelers, and it would have irreparably blurred the elite image of Swiss products.
So they hesitated.
They hesitated, and a strong, decisive retaliation never truly materialized. Similarly, the big three automakers initially struggled immensely against Volkswagen and American Motors' basic, no-frills cars.
The Beetle.
Right, because their own established strategy was built on this elaborate system of trade-ups, frequent model changes, emphasis on luxury. These new entrants just didn't play that game. And IBM, the undisputed king of computing, was famously reluctant to jump wholeheartedly into mini-computers because it understandably feared jeopardizing its highly profitable mainframe sales, the bedrock of its business.
Protecting the cash cow.
Exactly. These compelling examples just underscore the immense difficulty incumbents have in responding effectively to competitive moves that directly threaten their core business, their established market position, their existing profit structure, even if those moves are strategically necessary for long-term survival. It's the innovator's dilemma in practice.
It sounds like a delicate, almost paradoxical balance then.
Yeah.
You have to preserve your core identity, your values, while simultaneously relentlessly pushing for self-stimulated change, like Built to Last talks about. It's
Yeah.
like having your cake and eating it too, but in a highly strategic way.
Precisely. Built to Last describes this as a yin and yang dynamic, where truly visionary companies are fanatical about preserving their core ideology, their timeless purpose and values, and simultaneously aggressively stimulating progress.
Both and.
Both and. They relentlessly push for innovation, self-improvement, adaptation, almost as if they are their own fiercest competitors. Those companies that mimic well-adapted species in nature, those that try a lot of stuff and keep what works.
Experiment constantly.
Constantly experimenting and evolving, they have significantly better odds of survival and enduring success in an unpredictable, ever-changing environment. They cultivate an almost contrarian approach, willing to discard what worked brilliantly in the past if it no longer serves the future.
Wow, that's hard.
It's incredibly hard, while staying profoundly true to their fundamental purpose and values. It's about being both deeply rooted and incredibly agile.
So for you listening, it's worth asking, are you or your organization caught in a doom loop? Chasing fads, quick fixes, constantly reacting without a coherent strategy? Or are you strategically segmenting your efforts, preserving core strengths, what truly defines you, while boldly exploring new blue oceans that redefine the rules of the game and secure your future relevance?
That's the strategic tension.
That's a powerful transition from organizational strategy right down to the individuals within those organizations. Let's pivot now to the human element, because ultimately all these strategies are executed by people, right?
Absolutely. It all comes down to people.
And our individual minds can, quite naturally, play tricks on us. Thinking fast and slow reveals how our brains, through their inherent systems, can inadvertently lead us astray in decision-making. What's one of the most common cognitive pitfalls we face, like, every single day?
Well, Daniel Kahneman highlights confirmation bias as one of the most pervasive and, frankly, insidious cognitive biases we encounter.
Confirmation bias, seeking out what we already believe.
Exactly. It's the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. When asked a question like, is Sam friendly? Our system one, that fast, intuitive part of our brain, automatically brings to mind different instances of Sam's behavior than if you were asked, is Sam unfriendly?
The framing changes what you recall.
Totally. Our system two, the slower, more deliberate one, often then uses what he calls a positive test strategy when testing a hypothesis, meaning we primarily seek data that confirms our existing beliefs rather than actively trying to refute them.
We look for yes, not no.
Right. This leads to an uncritical acceptance of suggestions and, quite alarmingly, an overestimation of the likelihood of extreme and improbable events.
Like the tsunami example.
Yeah, exactly. If you're asked about the probability of a tsunami hitting California within the next 30 years, the vivid images of tsunamis that immediately come to your mind are likely to make you prone to significantly overestimate that probability. This natural tendency to seek confirming evidence can seriously cloud our judgment.
Makes us miss things.
Makes us miss critical disconfirming information and ultimately lead to suboptimal decisions, especially in complex strategic contexts where you really need to see all the angles.
And beyond just confirming what we already believe, there's also that fascinating phenomenon of regression to the mean.
Yes.
Which can often mislead us into drawing incorrect conclusions about cause and effect, right? Attributing outcomes to our actions when it's actually just statistical noise.
Exactly. This concept, sometimes called regression to mediocrity, helps explain why criticism sometimes appears more effective than praise, even when it isn't, and vice versa.
How does that work?
Well, think about it. When someone performs unusually well, scores a spectacular win, hits a career high, it's statistically likely that their very next performance will be closer to their average, their typical level, regardless of whether they got effusive praise or no feedback at all.
Just statistics pulling them back.
Exactly. And the same applies in reverse. An unusually poor performance, a significant failure, a dip in results. It's statistically likely to be followed by a more average one. Understanding this helps us avoid falsely attributing outcomes solely to our interventions, whether that's a sharp critique or glowing praise, when natural statistical tendencies are actually at play.
So the tough talk didn't necessarily fix the bad performance.
Not necessarily. It's why sometimes, after giving a scathing review to an employee having a bad week, their performance improves the next week, and you might mistakenly think your criticism was the magic bullet. Or, conversely, after praising an exceptional effort, If the next result is merely average, you might feel let down, when in reality, it's just the natural statistical pullback to the norm. Recognizing this helps us make more rational judgments about cause and effect.
So for you listening, how often do you find yourself unconsciously seeking evidence that confirms what you already believe? Maybe dismissing information that challenges your viewpoint?
Or the flip side.
Or conversely, do you ever misinterpret feedback and results in your own performance or your team's due to these natural statistical fluctuations? Failing to account for regression to the mean, recognizing and actively counteracting these powerful cognitive biases is the absolutely first step towards more rational, effective, objective decision-making, both personally and professionally.
It takes conscious effort.
It really does. Now, beyond these subtle cognitive biases, ethical behavior and critically trust seem absolutely paramount for the functioning of any healthy system, right? A team, an entire market. What happens then when integrity is profoundly compromised, especially at high levels within organizations?
Oh, the consequences can be devastating. Den of Thieves. James B. Stewart's gripping account of the insider trading scandals of the 80s.
Yeah, incredible book.
It offers a grim and cautionary look. It vividly describes situations where compliance departments, ostensibly tasked with upholding ethical standards, were somnolent, basically asleep at the wheel. And low-prestige compliance officers at Goldman wouldn't dare challenge the trading of a powerful partner like Freeman.
Power dynamics trumping ethics.
Exactly. It highlights how internal power dynamics, the desire to avoid conflict, perceived loyalties, can severely undermine ethical standards and oversight, even in highly regulated industries.
Scary stuff.
And another powerful, deeply disturbing example is Drexel Burnham Lambert's refusal to admit Michael Milken's guilt, even on the eve of capitulation to government charges.
Right up to the end.
Right up to the end. Or their brazen desire to still pay him over $200 million in compensation that was due. These instances illustrate how a corporate culture can become so distorted that it prioritizes internal loyalties, protecting powerful individuals' personal gain over legal and ethical obligations, even when facing intense government scrutiny and the very real threat of catastrophic organizational downfall.
It's a chilling reminder.
It is. Ethics aren't just an abstract concept. They're the very foundation of sustainable enterprise.
On the flip side of that, Stephen Covey, in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks extensively about building what he calls an emotional bank account.
Ah, the emotional bank account. Great metaphor.
And the profound, often overlooked importance of sincerity in our interactions to build that trust.
Covey masterfully emphasizes that great deposits into this emotional bank account, the amount of trust and goodwill built in any relationship, come from remarkably simple yet profoundly sincere apologies.
Like
Powerful statements like, "I was wrong," or "I showed you no respect." When delivered with genuine contrition, they can mend profound rifts and rebuild broken trust.
Takes courage, though.
It does. He makes a crucial observation that people with little internal security often struggle immensely to apologize genuinely. They fear vulnerability, fear that admitting fault might make them appear weak or diminish their standing. However, true security, Covey argues, comes not from external validation or need to always be right, but from within. From accurate paradigms, strong character, correct principles. This internal foundation provides the necessary strength and courage to be vulnerable, to genuinely connect, and to effectively repair relationships, thereby accumulating those vital deposits of trust.
That internal security, which allows for vulnerability and genuine apologies. It also seems absolutely key for fostering genuine cooperation rather than competition, even when the stated intention is cooperation.
Oh, yeah.
It's about aligning systems with values, isn't it?
That's a brilliant connection. Covey recounts his compelling story of a company president who explicitly wanted cooperation and teamwork among his managers.
Sounds good so far.
But, paradoxically, he fostered intense competition among them by using a highly visible racehorse chart, offering a coveted trip to Bermuda only to the winner.
Oh dear. Mixed messages.
Totally mixed messages. Despite his verbal calls for collaboration, this flawed paradigm resulted in rampant selfishness, backstabbing, because one manager's success inherently meant failure for all the others.
The system drove the behavior.
Exactly. The profound lesson here is that you simply cannot get the fruits of cooperation from a paradigm of competition. This illustrates a fundamental principle that extends far beyond corporate offices. Our deepest beliefs, the systems we put in place, the incentives we create, they often dictate behavior far more powerfully than our stated desires or slogans. If the underlying structure is competitive, people will act competitively. even if you repeatedly ask them to cooperate.
And in that spirit of cooperation and building trust, the importance of truly understanding others, the fifth habit, is profoundly highlighted by that injunction. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Cornerstone a habit.
It feels like a cornerstone of effective interaction.
It absolutely is, and it's a habit I think many of us struggle with. We often listen autobiographically.
Autobiographically,
Meaning we primarily process information and respond from our own frame of reference. We're evaluating, probing, advising, or interpreting based on our own experiences, beliefs, motives, rather than genuinely empathizing with the other person's perspective.
listening to reply, not to understand.
Exactly. This deeply ingrained tendency makes others feel judged, misunderstood, or even invaded. It effectively prevents true connection and open, honest communication. Think of a parent-child dynamic. A child might repeatedly shut down, saying nothing when asked what's wrong, precisely because they sense they're being evaluated or advised, not truly heard or understood. The ability to deliberately set aside our own frame of reference, to genuinely step into another's shoes, to listen not just with our ears but with our eyes and heart. It's a rare and incredibly powerful skill.
Takes real effort.
It's the foundation for building deep trust, facilitating genuine problem solving, and truly influencing others from a place of respect and understanding.
So for you listening, reflect on your own interactions. At work, personal life, are your apologies sincere? Or do they often come with subtle caveats or justifications?
Are they real?
Do you truly seek to understand before being understood? Or are you primarily listening to formulate your next response, offer your solution, validate your viewpoint? Could a flawed paradigm in your environment be subtly sabotaging your collaborative efforts, even when your intentions are good? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward building stronger, more effective relationships and achieving deeper, more meaningful outcomes.
That self-reflection is key. #tag outro.
As we wrap up this truly expansive journey, wow, we covered a lot. Through such diverse and powerful insights, it's abundantly clear. From strategic positioning and market dynamics to the subtle yet profound art of human interaction, overcoming our own inherent cognitive biases. The path to enduring success for individuals, for organizations, it's paved with both deep understanding and deliberate, often courageous choices.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
We've seen how strategy isn't just about clever market moves, but about identifying and relentlessly building fundamental, defensible value. We've explored how rapid growth inevitably and dramatically transforms internal organizational dynamics, and how our own human biases can be both a significant hurdle and, once recognized and addressed, a profound opportunity for better decision-making.
And if we connect all of these threads to the bigger picture, it really highlights that the most powerful tools available to us aren't just, external market analyses or the latest technologies or even the most detailed business plans.
It's often the internal work.
It is. It's often the deeply internal work. Cultivating authentic values, fostering genuine collaboration built on trust, and relentlessly challenging our own assumptions and biases. That emphasis on discovery-driven experimentation from strategic flexibility that really stand out. It reminds us that truly idiosyncratic insights, potent resource combinations, often stem not from perfect foresight or grandmaster plans, but from a messy, iterative process of trial and error learning that is unique to each firm or individual.
Learning by doing.
Learning by doing, and often by failing intelligently in a way that others simply cannot replicate or easily understand.
So what does this all mean for you listening as you navigate your own journey, whether you're leading a team, innovating a product, or simply striving for personal growth?
What's the takeaway?
Well, here's a provocative thought to maybe mull over. In a world overflowing with information, shifting landscapes, ever-present challenges, our sources underscore a fundamental, almost contrarian truth. While we can and absolutely should learn valuable lessons from the strategies and failures of others, true competitive advantage, and indeed personal mastery, often comes from a deep, almost radical self-awareness.
Knowing yourself.
Knowing yourself. Knowing not just what to do, but profoundly understanding why you believe it, what core problems you are truly solving. And critically, comprehending the subtle human currents, both within yourself and in those around you, that will either propel or derail your best intentions. So the question is, how will you cultivate that internal conviction, that deep insight, and that crucial self-awareness in your own life and work? And how will you translate that into sustained, meaningful action that builds true, lasting value?